Hey there, Miranda Wilson here with another fun lesson idea from Science Journal for Kids. Today, we're going to be talking about a quick classroom activity you can do that explores the concept of wisdom of the crowd. This is inspired by a published article titled, "How Do Groups of Ants Make Shared Decisions?" In the study, the researchers discovered that weaver ants actually use a wisdom of the crowd strategy to bring large pieces of food back to their nest. Basically, the ants use little bits of individual knowledge that average out to a straighter and faster path. The more ants that contribute, the better. So this can be a classroom activity, or you can send your students out to gather data. In a nutshell, you're going to collect guesses about the number of small objects in a jar. They could be things like beans or buttons or edible things like jelly beans or Hershey's Kisses. Once you collect a large number of guesses, you can see that this wisdom of the crowd, or the average, is more accurate than most of the individual guesses. So that's what I did here. I have a jar of beans. And I took them to my son's school and had all of his friends and their parents try and guess how many beans are in this jar. And we got 44 guesses. So take a look at these beans and take a guess yourself. I'll give you a minute. Then we calculated the average, which turned out to be 1,447 for all of our guesses. So the only problem with this activity is that you need to know the actual number, which means that you have to actually count all of these beans. So you could count them all yourself, or you could get your students to help you. Just make sure that your students take their guesses before they start counting the beans. The actual number of beans in my jar is a whopping 2,256 beans. Now we can ask how close that average is to the actual, or the wisdom of the crowd versus the individual guesses. Well, in our case, it's the same order of magnitude, which is great. It's not super close, but this is real science, so we can't expect to get perfect data. Was the wisdom of the crowd more accurate than your individual guess? Let's take a look at our data and see what happened. It might give you some discussion points for your classes if something similar happens to you. So the ideal histogram for this type of data is a normal distribution with the average pretty close to the middle and your actual number also pretty close to the middle. As you can see, our data doesn't really look like that, but it does give us an opportunity to talk about the shape of the graph and the impact that outliers might have on this shape and our data in general. Consider extending your lesson to have your students practice their graphing skills by creating a histogram like this one. Visualizing your data can also help foster a discussion about potential biases that might be inherent in your collection. For example, I didn't really consider that my population was mostly kids under 10, so they may not have had a great grasp of numbers, or they may have had a hard time visualizing the small beans that I used. They may have done much better with something bigger like Hershey's Kisses, or maybe candy in a smaller jar. That's all for today. If you'd like more teaching tips and ideas for lesson planning, please check out the audio or video versions of our Lesson Ideas podcast. Also, make sure to check out our Ask a Scientist videos for short interviews with some of our researchers. You can find them on our YouTube channel. If you have questions or comments, please share them in the feedback form on our website, or head to our Facebook group. You can also sign up for our free monthly newsletter to learn more about our latest content. And as always, please visit our website, sciencejournalforkids.org, for more free science teaching resources. Thanks, have a good one.